This NASCAR All-Star Race Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. Sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, can you believe it? We have reached the all-star break in NASCAR. Feels like just yesterday we were talking about Daytona. Now we're talking about North Wilkesboro. Where has the season gone, my friend?
Where it is crazy, right? It goes so fast, halfway through the regular season. And, you know, Denny Hamlin kind of made this point. Is it a break? It's not a break, Rod. There's still racing going on. They're still going to try to win. We still got racing to bet on. No breaks in NASCAR. Well, okay, I take that back because there is a 2-week break coming up in the summertime. But, yeah, it is crazy. Halfway through the regular season already, 13 races down, 13 races to go. A little bit of a different week this week, obviously, as we've got the all-star events. We'll go through the whole format and everything here in a few minutes. But, yeah, kind of a different approach this week and a different way to get in on things.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, this is the break where we get to just kind of, you know, take a deep breath. And our handicapping is not going to be, obviously we don't have a gigantic book of track records. We don't have the track history. We don't have, you know, all of that stuff. We're just going to say, listen, this is the having fun. This is the part of it where don't go heavy. Don't throw everything at this. Treat this like Daytona in a way where, you know, you just sort of, you want to root for what you want to root for. And that's what really we're going to end up doing. So I love it. Justin checking in the chat already. I'm at work, but go Larson plus 900. We'll talk there in a second. Talk to y'all later. We will talk to you soon. JDK, all of his money going on Josh Berry.
JDK and I were having a heated discussion in the Discord prior to the show, Rod. So we're going to get into that. Don't worry. It's coming. Walter checking in. What's up, guys? Season's flying by. His money's on Buescher this week. It's be a good week to make $1 million and get come back after the last 2 weeks of just brutal beats for Buescher. King hasn't seen odds yet. FanDuel slower than Logano. Ooh. Yeah, FanDuel. They we've got these other books that are in NASCAR's getting around. FanDuel's like the kid on the tricycle down the block that you'll see like a day before the. I don't understand that FanDuel is just slow. I hardly even look at FanDuel ever anymore, Rod, because they take fucking forever to get their shit out. Figure it out.
Hey guys, wait for me. I can't do it.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, you know who doesn't take forever to get stuff out? It is the WNBA, folks. WNBA is back. It is back. It is in action, and you can look for more ways to get paid watching hoops by checking out the WNBA podcast. It is back this week. Plus, if you didn't know already, listen, I know that you probably are subscribed to our feed in particular, but if you are a fan of many, many other sports other than NASCAR, the Sports Gambling Podcast, the SGPN feed itself, if you look in there, there's an SGPN feed, not the actual mother show, the Sports Gambling Podcast, but the SGPN feed. It has everything. It's got us. It's got soccer. It's got WNBA. It's got NBA. It's got baseball. It's got hockey. It's got horse racing. There's so much more that's going on in that feed that you haven't checked out yet that you should. So make sure that you subscribe to the SGPN network feed wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, aka this one. And of course, F1 is in there too. So if you don't like to subscribe to a bunch of them, subscribe to both and have yourself covered.
Yeah, you can just hit play on that feed and you're covered for, you'll never run out of podcasts to listen to. So great thing about this network, and obviously cover a lot of things. So get Caitlin Clark, highest bet basketball player prop this season, WNBA and NBA, is her points. 21.5 is the over on her points for tonight. I think tonight is her debut. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, that's so crazy.
Saw that this afternoon. So
all right. There's a lot of news, but I'm excited about one in particular, and I'm going to be the one to announce this one.
Doing the double.
Well, yes, but also Jimmy Johnson going to be an NBC announcer. That excites me. So
he's doing the double. He's
doing the double.
He's doing the So I guess he's gonna be on the Indy 500 call, and then he's also going to be on the Coke 600 call, in addition to the races at Daytona, Talladega, and the championship race at Phoenix. So we get a little bit of racing Jimmy Johnson on the track. Hopefully he's a little bit of a better broadcaster than he is a racer these days, Rob.
Ouch.
But geez, I don't want to throw darts at Jimmy like this. It hurts myself. So but yeah, it is good to see Jimmy getting in the booth, and it'll be great to get his perspective. I mean, 7-time champion, we both agree, greatest NASCAR driver in history. So have his perspective TV booth will be great.
Yeah, and honestly too, he's done well when he's done sort of that. Not done like a driver's only type of thing, but he's done a lot of the commentating, as it were, just not really officially in the booth. And look, if Kevin Harvick can do it, I know Jimmy Johnson can do it. So I'm stoked for that. But I know that's the lesser of all of it. But there's a ton more, Cody. What do we got going on?
It's big news. We love it. Cody with the low blow. I know. I apologize to Jimmy. He's the GOAT, and I hate to have to throw the jokes out there, but it's not been good lately. So I don't even know where to start, Rod. So I'm just going to go through all this stuff. RFK announced that Cam Waters, who's been racing in the Truck Series for Thor Sport, another Aussie guy, right, from the Cars Tour, the Ford version of SVG, or not Cars, from the Supercars Tour down under. He's the Ford version of SVG. He's going to race the Stage 60 car for RFK at Sonoma. So you might be there in person to see him, Rod. That's pretty cool. Amazon Prime getting super involved now because of their partnership deal going forward. A 4-part documentary in 2025 called Earnhart, and the poster has Dale and Dale Jr. Excited for that. That's going to be awesome, Rod. Let's see. That was kind of all the big news, I think. We talked about the tournament yesterday in the recap show. So if you didn't get a chance to hear our thoughts on the tournament next year and how we love that, you can go back and listen to that. Did I miss any? There was so much news today. I'm trying to scroll through, and I think
while you scroll through, I want to talk about that Earnhardt thing. I'm excited about that because we've gotten a few of these Earnhardt documentaries and the specials and the shows and stuff like that, but I always feel like they're pressed for, I don't want to say they're pressed for time, but they sort of condense things. Hopefully this show, this whatever that's coming out, delves a little bit deeper into what it was. Cause Earnhardt, the legend, is what we know, but like, I feel like I wasn't a fan back in the day of Earnhardt. I know my brother really was, so he got to experience it, but I came a little bit later into it. So I want more. Like I want to feel like I was a fan back in the day is what I want out of this. So hopefully that satisfies that need for me.
Yes. Agree with you. By the way, Jimmy Johnson, Rod, he's going to be part of the broadcast team at the Indy 500, but he's racing in the Coke 600. So he's not going to be on NBC. He's going to be on the broadcast in Indy and then get his way to North Carolina to be on the broadcast. So
awesome.
Yes, there was my confusion on that one, but I forgot he's going to actually be racing. Also, breaking news just now from Bob Pockrass: Sam Mayer's been docked 10 points, and Marty Lindley, the crew chief, has been suspended a race and fined $10,000 for violating the rule that the chassis that has had a major repair or its certification time has expired must be recertified. So, oops, overlook there in the JRM camp, but I don't know that 10 points is going to make much of a difference for him. So
it's a slap on the wrist. However, my brother, rumors are Trackhouse and College emerging.
Man.
We've been talking about that a little bit, right?
Yeah, there's so many rumors, and Door Bumper Clear did a good job of covering them all this week. But yeah, that one makes the most sense. They've already got the partnership right. They've got SVG they need to find a ride for. They've got Zane Smith they need to find a ride for. So it would make sense you absorb those two cars, basically put those guys in those two cars. And it sounds like the charters maybe won't go for $40 million like they did last season. So we'll see. A lot of the rumors have SHR being completely dissolved and sold off. So that opens up 4 more charters. RFK we know is looking for one. 2311 we know is looking to add one as well. Who else might jump in? Maybe Junior decides to jump in and get his feet wet with a couple of those. Sounds like Harrison Burton is done deal. He's out of the 21 to nobody's surprise. That's a possible Chase Briscoe landing spot. Front row, the 34 could potentially be Cole Custer going into to replace Michael McDowell as he goes to the 71. So yeah, there's a lot of dominoes that are going to fall. This can be a pretty crazy, silly season as we go forward here.
The silliest of all. DM Punk saying Canby Books have super car odds for Perth Super Sprint, expecting 75 minimum picks from the show on you guys. Woof, man, that's a.
Oh, I wish we could get they only ever have trust me, I've been watching because Caesars offers them too, but it's only ever outright. So outrights are good and fun and stuff, but
if you want 75 outrights, we'll give you the whole field twice.
Yeah. Well, he just wants 75 minutes of us talking about it. So if we could, just get the list of drivers trying to pronounce all their names right, we could probably fill 75 minutes, Rod.
I watch enough Australian football to kind of get a glimpse, but it's all that.
There you go.
All right. What we do have is plenty of opportunity to talk about the All-Star race as we get there. But before we do, and we'll set up all of what you need to know, the format and everything that's got to go with it. But in the meantime, as I stall for time, as I keep pushing buttons, let me tell you about NYRA. Bet the second jewel of the Triple Crown with NYRA Bets. Sign up today for a $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN200. Join now to claim your $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Preakness at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. Get ready for nonstop action with NYRA Bets evening promotions. Bet $50 each on Belmont at the Big A and any track with a first post at 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday for a $10 bonus, win or lose. Need more? Earn a $15 bonus, win or lose, when you bet at least $75 each on Belmont at the Big A at Monmouth Park. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. And that's not all. Score big with a 20% bonus on your ticket winnings by hitting an exacta on any or all races at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. Feed your competitive edge with live money handicapping contests nearly every week. Enter the Friday feeder contest to earn your entry into the next $300 contest plus. Win cash prizes and seats in the next week's contest with the NYRA Bets Saturday contest. Registration closes before the Belmont at the Big A third race. Post time on the day of each contest. Get in and get your bonuses at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. You hear us talking about it each and every week, and you love to follow along with the action of Underdog Fantasy. And of course, the NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting because let's face it, Underdog Fantasy, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, so much more. And of course, in the world of racing, better than or worse than the average or the projected finishing position of the driver. You can make all of your entries in just basketball if that's what you so choose, or mix and match across all your favorite sports, just like racing, just like baseball, just like hockey, just like WNBA, all that stuff, right? Underdog's available in 30 or more states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. New customers too, you're going to get a pick'em special in the lobby when you sign up. Underdog's going to be running a ton of different promos. They got bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. I said it before, I'll say it again. Underdog's available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. Not to mention they just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
All right, Rod. We're going to try and walk through all of this. Are you ready and prepared?
I've got my iced coffee. I can keep myself awake.
Okay, so we're going to start with the entry list and the open cars. So Timmy Hill has entered into this for whatever reason. I have no idea. He's entered into it. Kaz Grall is going to be in the 15 car. AJ Allmendinger is going to be in the 16 car because he's a winner that's eligible for the main event. So there are 17 cars. So again, just to kind of go back and break this whole thing down, there is the All-Star. There's 17 cars that are already locked in to the All-Star race. Prior to the All-Star race, there's going to be the All-Star Open, where 3 cars are going to advance. The drivers who finish first and second, and then the fan vote. So you can go vote right now for your favorite driver that's not already locked in, and whoever has the most votes of those, not counting the first 2, obviously. If those guys have the most votes, they're just in by where they finish. Then the next most votes is the guy who gets in on the driver vote. So it'll be 20 cars in the main event. Make sure you're paying attention when you go to place your bets. There is open section and there is a all-star race section. So we're going to have bets on both of those as well. So 17 cars are locked into the main event, Rod. Those 17 drivers are Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, AJ Allmendinger, Chris Buescher, Martin Truex, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, William Byron, Michael McDowell, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse, and Daniel Suarez. Those 17 guys already locked into the main event. They're going to be racing for the $1 million on Sunday evening. Everyone else that's in, all of your regular guys, and then the 2 open guys in Gralla and Hill that I mentioned, they will be in the open race. So Bob Pockers has a really good article, and I'll share this in the Discord if you want to read the whole thing, but I'm going to skim over it and go through the important parts. So 3 sets of tires are available for the racing in this entire event. The regular tire, or what NASCAR is going to call the prime tires, that's a short track tire they've been using, one of the softest tires made by Goodyear that is designed to wear. That is going to be in yellow lettering, the yellow Goodyear lettering we're used to. There's going to be the softer tire, which is going to be in red lettering. So you'll be able to tell the difference when they're out there on the tire. That's what NASCAR is calling the quote-unquote option tires. This is a new tire that uses rubber from the rain tires. The idea is when the rain tires have been used, drivers like the way it wore out. And then there's also going to be the rain tire, which weather could again impact this race like it did last year. They won't race in the rain, but they'll race on wet conditions. They did that for the heat races last season, so potentially could get that. Okay, qualifying, Rod, will take place Friday, 5:40 Eastern time for the open race. Will be NASCAR's regular short track qualifying, 2 laps with the best lap counting, all on the regular tires. These teams will not compete in the pit crew challenge. Then after that, you're going to have the Cup Series qualifying / pit crew challenge Friday night at 6:20 Eastern time. 3 laps, all on the regular tire. At the end of the second lap, a 4-tire pit stop. Fueler must engage fuel but won't fuel the car. The fastest 3-lap time will be the pole sitter for the first heat race, and the All-Star event. The fastest stop based on the timing lines on pit road, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. So that's going to set the lineup for the heat races. So then you've got, again, this is a long drawn out thing. So we just want to walk through everybody so you kind of understand what's going on. Again, you can read this article in our Discord if you want to get the full thing. But then you're going to have 2 60-lap heat races for the All-Star guys. This is Saturday night, 5:30 Eastern time. Lineups determined by qualifying. Odd rankings the first heat, even rankings in the second. All laps will count with overtime possible. Teams can use whatever tire they want in this. So this is going to be a big experimental period. Caution to lap 30 where they must make a 4-tire pit stop. Heat 1 establishes the inside row for the All-Star race, except for the pole sitter, because that's going to come from the guy who's on the pole originally. And then Heat 2 will do the outside row. So it's going to be a lot like Daytona, where they set the lineup a little differently, right? So nothing for the open team Saturday. Then Sunday, the Open will take place Sunday at 5:30 Eastern Time. 100-lap race. All laps will count. So caution laps count. 1 attempt at overtime if they need to get there. You can start on any tire. Lap 50, there will be a caution where they must make a 4-tire pit stop. Top 2 advance. And then the fan vote winner get into the all-star race. Then you get to Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. 200-lap race. All laps count. Overtime rules are full effect. Teams get 2 sets of regular tires, 2 sets of softer tires. Got to start on the softer tire. Caution at lap 100 with a mandatory 4 pit stop. And then another competition caution at lap 150 with no requirement to pit. Obviously, at that point, if you want to change tires or whatever, you'll be able to. So that's how the weekend's going to work. I know that's a lot. You might have to go back and listen again. Or again, I'll share this in the Discord right now. So if you want to read it yourself, you'll be able to find it over there.
Just for the record, we are at the North Wilkesboro race speedway over there in North Wilkesboro. And this is a 0.625 mile track. So when Cody's talking about 200 laps, this is a short track. So these will click off rather quickly. And of course, 100 laps for the Open as well. Yeah, only 125 miles in this or in the All-Star race proper. And then half of that in the Open. So these guys don't have a whole lot of time, 62 miles to sort it out for the Open to get into the All-Star race. And of course, as we know, those 200 laps go by really quickly. So there's going to be a lot of jockeying for position and a lot of stuff going on. However, it could be like Kyle Larson and just almost lead the whole damn thing. And then we're good to go there. So, and then I'm also excited about the fact that we've got tire selection like this. We've been talking about this with F1, how that always makes, you come out on the medium compound, you call it on the soft compound. When do you switch to the hard compound? So that's going to add another layer of intrigue to this race, which I'm excited about because All-Star races could be like it was last year where Kyle Larson runs away with it, but maybe a softer compound tire grips a little better and somebody can overtake because they've got better grip or better grip.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing too to note, Kyle Larson is going to start dead last in the All-Star event. That is already a set and done thing. Kevin Harvick is going to practice the car. He's going to qualify the car. He's going to do the pit stop challenge. He's also going to race the heat race because Kyle Larson's going to be in Indy doing testing and practice and whatever they've got going on over there. So he will be starting, which we're going to talk about with his odds in a few minutes because they're way higher than they should be, even if he's starting last, Rod. We'll talk about it, but he will start at the back because there's going to be a driver change. So just as you go into the weekend, no matter where that car, what Harvick does in it, Kyle Larson, because of the driver change, he's not going to be there for the heats. He is going to start from the back. So that is of note.
I think we reflect that, as a matter of fact, but we'll talk about that as we get there. In fact, we'll talk about all of our bets in just a second as we've completely laid out the format for you, and we'll get back to the bets. But let me tell you first about GameTime. Buying tickets is wholly more stressful than it needs to be anymore because more and more you can't go walking up into the actual venue and say, hey, guess what? I would like to purchase a ticket, because now they're like, oh, did you go online to buy the ticket? And you're like, no, because I wanted to come up and walk and actually talk to a person and buy the ticket. Well, they say, well, go download the app and buy the ticket and we'll go ahead and scan it for you. And you're standing right at, can you tell I'm getting pissed off? But guess what? GameTime takes all that stress away because you can log on to GameTime and you know that you're going to find the best prices for the tickets that you want to purchase. And it doesn't even matter if you're trying to do it at the last minute, right? Like you would if you were to walk up to the venue and say, I'd like a ticket, please. But yeah, you can definitely buy those tickets at the last minute. No, you're getting the best price. Plus, you're going to get the GameTime guarantee because they've got your back. When you buy it on GameTime, you're going to get your tickets on time and authentic, even if you're buying, like I said, at the very last minute. It's made for your phone, so all you got to do is take care of everything you can on your phone. One thing I like is when I'm going to go buy a ticket, I look and I see, and they give me a panoramic view of the seats that I picked. Or you can even just say, hey, listen, I'm going to pick section 213 in my favorite venue, and then let them go ahead and pick the seats for you, and you're going to get a better deal that way as well. So many great ways and so many great things to do to take advantage of this. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, whatever you got. They got flash deals, so save even more with exclusive in-app deals. Select seats, like I said, ahead of time or the game. All in pricing. You get the total up front with no surprise fees at the checkout. And, of course, that seat view, and you get the lowest prices guaranteed. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create that account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Catching up on the chat real quick, Rod. Nick Fortune saying, afternoon, gentlemen. DM Punk also saying they've got winners, first through third, manufacturer, and even odd even winner. So we might have to do some more research, Rod. King wants to know, I might be biased. Shouldn't the defending winner of the Pit Crew Challenge be able to compete? You are definitely biased because Ty won last year. I mean, if that's how they've got the format, I don't know that they need to compete. So Boji Joe wants to know how this track will wear tires. Your guess is as good as ours. So they have repaved it. North Wilkesboro was the old worn out surface. Again, that track sat dormant for years. There was weeds growing up through it. They went through, cleaned it out, left the surface. That's what we raced on last year. Heavy tire wear, provided for good racing, but they've repaved it. I don't know if you've noticed how repaves have gone lately when these guys are in charge of them, Rod. So we'll see if the track holds up. But it's an asphalt mixture that is supposed to be made to help wear the tires. We'll see. All right. In the testing, you're going a solid 2 seconds faster per lap than they were last season. I don't know that we're going to see very much tire wear. I don't know for sure. We're going to see, and you've got the different tires as well. So it'll kind of be interesting. But yeah, as far as what actually happens with tire wear, it's kind of TBD because we don't really know.
Yep, we don't, and we're not going to know. And again, now with the different choice of tires, it could wear a whole lot differently. So, different cars could wear at different times. It's just, this is going to be a crapshoot, and I'm here for it. So, speaking of which, Cody, let's start laying out our bets for this All-Star race, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into it. So, Rod, we're going to start with the open race. Unfortunately, at the time we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, the only open bets that are available currently are just winning odds. So we're each going to give out our winners, and then we'll move on to the main event where we've got more options. Again, like we talked about at the top of the show, kind of treat this a little bit lighter. You're not going to get all the normal options because, the main event's only 20 cars. So are you going to get a top 10? Probably not. Will we even see top 5s? We'll see. Might be limited to top 3s. I don't know if you're going to get much for groups. Probably not going to be a lot of other stuff out there. Stick to the Discord, because if you see other things pop up, you can hit us up. We'll give you our opinions, and we'll drop other things out there if we like them. But for the open race, Rod, which of course is the race to qualify you to get in, I'm going to start with my winners, and I've got two different guys. Boji Joe says fade Ty Gibbs. I say fade you, good sir. Ty Gibbs is the heavy favorite in this race, Rod. Plus 275. Give me all the Ty Gibbs. Also give me Bubba Wallace at 7-1. So, Rod, we're looking at this entry list here, right? And what we need to realize as we're betting on this is there's not a bunch of great drivers in this field. So it's going to default to the guys who should stand head and shoulders above everyone else. Who's been the best two teams this season, Rod? Brick Hendrick Racing, right? Hendrick Motorsports. All four of those cars are not in this race. Joe Gibbs Racing. 3 of those cars are not in this race. The other one, who's arguably been one of the better ones, was second place last week at Darlington, right? And yeah, he's gone through a little bit of a sophomore slump. I know, Rod. But Ty Gibbs is going to be in the fastest car in this race, hands down. Could things get rough up front? Could he get roughed up? Absolutely. But can't rough him up if you can't catch him. So I think you got to go with Ty Gibbs. Boji Joe also says picking the car, not the driver. Not to mention, Boji Joe, he is the most talented driver in this field by far. I guess Alex Bowman is in this race, Rod. I said all the Hendrick cars, but apologize to Alex Bowman. He is in this race. Doesn't change my argument. I still think Ty Gibbs is going to have the fastest car. I think he is going to be the guy to beat. So give me the Ty Gibbs. It's chalky, but a plus 275, when you look at the competition he's going up against, you drop him in the Xfinity Series, and he goes out there and beats up on people. You're putting him in here, and you got to take it. For Bubba Wallace, there's been some heavy Bubba Wallace hate. I'm looking at you, JDK, in the Discord. Bubba Wallace finished second place in the All-Star race last year, Rod, at North Wilkesboro here. I get it. They've repaved it, stuff. But, again, when you look at how fast the 2311 cars have been, you look at the lack of competition here. I mean, looking through this field, Rod, I can find only a few guys I think who could really win this race. It's the Ty Gibbs, it's Bubba Wallace, it's Alex Bowman, it's Chase Briscoe, it's Noah Gragson. I think outside of that, you're pretty far-fetched to find anybody else that's going to actually have a chance to win this race. So give me Bubba Wallace to get it done. He was around a 12 guy last year in the playoffs. We know how strong he is, and he was good here last year. Give me Ty Gibbs because it's Ty Gibbs. Is going to be in a fast car, most talented driver out there. So sticking towards the top, but in the Gibbs at plus 275, it's a little, you got to kind of, but it's a short race. He's going to be the fastest. He's going to be the best. Backing it up with Bubba at a great number at 7-1. So those are my winners, Rod.
Boji Joe saying, Rod, save me and save Cody. I'll do that. And I will turn. Now, listen, if you think about this, last year, it was Josh Berry who won this open race in the 48 car. So if you want to talk about Bowman winning that one in the 48 car as well, that'd be fine. But I'm actually going to go ahead and say that Josh Berry backs it up and wins this again, plus 750. Here's the thing, right? Josh Berry, we talk about him being good in spurts and then showing up and then disappearing, showing up and then disappearing, showing up with a 12th place in Bristol after starting on the outside pole, by the way, led 25 laps of that race, right? Another short track, did fairly well. He didn't win the race, but he did start second, which means he had speed there. And this is a really short lane at 25 laps that he led at Bristol. That's a quarter of the All-Star race. If he does that at the right time, then he's going to win this race, right? And then he kind of disappears, shows up with an 11th place at Richmond, right? And kind of another shorter track after a 30th place start. Led 2 laps in that one as well. All of a sudden, he turns around at Darlington, starts 33rd, finishes 3rd. Now, we know that Darlington was, a crazy show of it all, but ends up finishing 3rd in that race. Maybe Josh Berry's peaking at just the right time to be able to snag himself an open one, because you said it yourself, Cody, this is not a stacked field, right? This is the Cindricks, the Dillons, the LaJoy, the Casgrallas, the Burtons, the Hammonds.
I will not stand for any Corey LaJoy slander on this podcast, Rod.
Sorry,
apologize
buddy.
right now.
Nope, I'm not, because Corey LaJoy is not stacking any sort of. Yeah, don't you sing to that picture, because I guarantee you right now he's going to need it. He's going to need a bedtime story at the end of the day. So, look at plus 750 for the guy that won the Open last. I get it. He's not in that 48. I get it. He's not at Hendrick Equipment anymore, but he's in the 4. And Kevin Harvick killed everybody in the 4 for a very long time.
Except in North Wilkesboro last year where he sucked. But
that's Kevin Harvick in the retired mode of Kevin Harvick. So, again, Josh Berry, the guy who did it last year, plus 750. I think he stands a good chance to win it again. I think he's going to advance. I'll tell you that much right now. He could finish second, but we'll see Josh Berry pulling in plus 750 winning this race.
I hope we get head-to-heads, because if we get head-to-heads for this, I'm fading Josh Berry. I've seen a lot of love for Josh Berry. I don't understand it. He's got 1 top 10 in the Cup Series this season, and this is the perfect type of track. This is his style of track, like Martinsville was, like Richmond was, like how many other places were. I don't know. I just not buying it on Barry. I've not been buying it on Barry yet. I'm still not buying it on Barry. Good run for him last week at Darlington. Great. Don't think he's going to back it up this week. I did not include him in my list of guys when I said that there were guys who could win this race, Rod, because I believe that that's the case. The chat, I believe, hates me for this take. So, is what it is, Rod. Shall we move on to the All-Star race proper and the bets we're going to take there?
Yes, we should, just to save you. Except for King. King loves you. King wants you.
Because I picked Ty Gibbs. So love you too, King. Us Ty fans will stand strong together and not listen to these people and their Josh Berry love when he's not good. So, all right, Rod. Moving on to the All-Star race proper itself. Again, we've actually got more options here. Not a ton. So this is very heavy on the head-to-heads, especially for me. Oh, you found some. Oh, damn. I didn't even see those odds earlier when I was looking. Wow, I like it. I'm looking through. Oh, see, I forgot. God damn it. Okay, here we go. Moving on, Rod. Kyle Larson matched up against Chase Elliott, plus 110. Kyle Larson, Rod, is being super disrespected by the books this week. I understand Kyle Larson is going to have to start at the back. He's not going to have practice. He's not going to, he's going to drop him. I saw someone, I don't remember where it was, X maybe, to whoever it was, props to you. I saw someone say, I don't care if Kyle Larson's getting started behind the field in a tricycle. I would still bet on him, and I completely agree with that. We don't pick Larson a lot. We don't bet on Larson a lot because his number is trash and he's hard to get in on, Rod. This is your chance. Load up on Kyle Larson. He fucking obliterated everyone in this race last year. The track's going to be different this year for sure, but it's Kyle Larson, the current points leader. He's fast every single week. Love Kyle Larson. Matchup against Chase Elliott here, plus 110. I think Chase Elliott's going to be fine, Rod. He's probably going to have an okay finish, but have we seen him really be able to compete for wins a ton this year? No. He got the one win at Texas, yes, but this is, and Boji Joe, we never talk about Larson because we can. It's too hard to because his number, but this is your chance. This is where you're plus 110. Kyle Larson against really anybody outside of maybe Denny Hamlin, but then you're getting him against Chase Elliott, who I love Chase and have bet on him plenty, but it's kind of been up and down, and you expect him to be so-so. Larson, again, he could wreck out of this thing, but he could also win this thing. I think he's going to be very fast. I think you're getting a great number here at plus 110. So give me Kyle Larson.
Well, and I know you're going to talk about him too. And in fact, that's one that I had targeted before I realized a couple boxes down you had that as well. So I'm glad you had this one because you're right. He's going to be somebody formidable all day long, and so you're going to have to account him in somewhere. So, all right, I'm going to take Ross Chastain over Kyle Busch in this head-to-head. Can the fate of Kyle Busch has to continue on. I'm telling you right now. I know that we said, oh, maybe Kyle Busch might have turned it around after a couple of good finishes, right? Starting on the pole in Dover, ended up finishing 4th in that race, started 5th in Kansas, and we thought, oh, he's back. He finished 8th. He's getting back, turned in the right direction. He had a 9th place in Texas after starting 35th. So, you thought, okay, great. You threw Talladega out because Talladega's Talladega. Well, then last week at Darlington sort of reminded us that Kyle Busch is definitely fallible, not just in the Cup Series, but in the Truck Series too. Like, he really had a terrible weekend. Started 11th at Darlington, finished 27th. But that trend is the same across most of these short tracks that we've been on this season. Phoenix is a mile, I get it, but 22nd after starting 31st. Bristol, 14th place start, 25th place finish. Richmond, 15th place start, 20th place finish. Martinsville, 11th place start, 16th place finish, right? So just have not been good on these types of tracks, on these shorter types of tracks. Ross Chastain, it's not like it's been much better. And in fact, his average finish this season is 13.5. Kyle Busch is at 16. But you look at where he's finished better than Kyle Busch. Last week at Darlington, finished 11th, right? Remember, Kyle Busch finished 22nd. Martinsville, Chastain finished 14th. Well, Kyle Busch finished 16th. That still would have cashed this bet. Richmond, a 15th place finish. Like I said, Kyle Busch finished 20th in that one. Bristol, Chastain 15th. Remember, Kyle Busch 25th. It just goes on and on and on. Chastain has not been lighting the world on fire. However, he's been finishing better than Kyle Busch more than he hasn't been. So, and this is the all-star race, right? I mean, this is one where Kyle Busch would probably love to win $1 million, but if he's not in contention, he's going to check out. He's not trying to tear up a car. He's not trying to get fancy with it. If he feels like he's not going to win, then he's probably just going to ride around. Whereas Chastain is going to push it until he either wrecks out or wins. So that's where his
Chastain doesn't have the off button, Rod.
No,
he's full go all the time. So yeah, no argument here. I think you laid out the case pretty solidly. And we've seen Busch and RCR in general be absolute trash on the short tracks. I think that definitely could come into play this weekend as well. So don't expect to see much from Busch, and you expect Chastain to be something good at least. Boji Joe saying he'll spin out on lap 2. That's possible. He spun out by himself at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. Spun out in the Truck Series kind of by himself this last week. Been a little rough for Kyle. They've had some bright spots lately, but in a general sense, rough, especially on the short tracks. Rod, a gift from the betting gods. I don't understand why this is a matchup. You're telling me I can get Brad Keselowski over Joey Slogano at plus 100 on Superbook? Are you kidding me? Brad Keselowski is coming off of a win last week. He's coming off of a strong run at Kansas. He's coming off of, I feel like wasn't he doing really well at Dover before he ended up wrecked? And then prior to that, second place at Talladega, second place at Texas. I mean, 8th place at Richmond wasn't bad. 3rd at Bristol. 4th at Phoenix. Brad Keselowski coming off of a win against Joey, battling for 30th place. Logano. I understand that Joey had some sort of a flash of maybe he was going to be decent. Then he remembered he was Joey Logano this past week and, chose to go backwards again. But what have you seen? Joey Logano, Rod, I think is beginning to sweat. I think that fire suit's getting a little bit tight. He's 18th place in the point standings right now. Is there somewhere he's going to win? We kind of joke about Iowa, but I mean, really, do you think he's got a chance to win at Iowa? It might be pretty tough, right? Things are starting to get tight over there in the 22 camp. I don't think they're going to show up and do anything this week like they haven't most weeks. Again, while I say Joey's the hardest guy in the series to predict, it's starting to look like lately maybe he's not, Rod. And you got Keselowski coming off this big win, all the momentum. And I don't remember if it was Hamlin or Loy. One of them on their podcast was like, you have a guy like Brad Keselowski, a champion, a guy who's been around so long. He's been working so hard. He's built all this up, all this stuff. Now he's got a 110 race win streak snapped off his back. How many times do you think we see Brad Keselowski in victory lane this year, Rod? I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps winning. I think he'll be in contention this week. I don't think Joey Logano will be anywhere in contention. Luckily for him, he can't finish worse than 20th because there's only 20 cars in the main event. This one isn't even close. Give me Brad Keselowski over Joey Logano.
It's like when you drink too much soju in one sitting and you get up and you finally break the seal. How many times are you going to keep going back to the restroom for the rest of the night? The answer is a lot. So I think Keselowski's in that same fate. He broke the seal and now he's about to hit it a couple more times before it's all said and done. So I do love this. And again, like you said, Joey Logano starting to be able to predict, but not for the right. And look, is a lot like where we always say, look, Kyle Larson on a super speedway, you're going to see him in the front. You're going to see him running around there, but something's going to happen and it's all over. So love that for this bet. Love Tyler Reddick as a top 3 car, plus 330 on this one. We just watched what Tyler Reddick can do. Just ignore the fact that he ended up wrecking out, but we saw what he was capable of.
But that's a good point, Rod, because we know how good he is, and then he always wrecks out at the end. It's a short race.
Exactly. It's a very short race. So that maybe hopefully the end is
we'll get to the end before he's got the chance to fuck it up.
Kind of like he did last year where he finished in, hey, guess what? 3rd place. It was Kyle Larson, it was Bubba Wallace, and it was Tyler Reddick in there at 3rd place. Those 2311 boys. Really good on short track racing. Again, Tyler Reddick, really good at short track racing. We saw it last week in that 1.3 mile Lady in Black. And we've seen it a couple of times already this season too. Where he did end up finishing in 7th place at Martinsville. I know it's not 3rd place, but again, this is he started in 19th. So you can't really start too much farther back than 19th in this one. Hopefully he does that. He did finish 2nd at Las Vegas this season. He started 3rd in Austin in the road course, finished 5th. So, 7th place, like I said, at Martinsville, 4th place at Texas, 1st at Talladega, started on the pole last week in Darlington, before he crashed out, obviously, but he led 174 laps in that. You lead 174 laps of this race, hopefully at the right time, then you're winning this race. So I'm definitely feeling some Tyler Reddick to get inside the top 3 and plus 330. Like I said, for a guy that's already done this, right? Did it last year. He's still fast. He hasn't slowed down any. I still think he's fully capable of doing this. And he's young enough to really want this more than most of the other veterans that are like, okay, yeah, it's my X amount of all-star races. I'm going to have fun racing this, but if I can't win, I'm not going to push too hard. That's not Reddick either. Reddick and Chastain, 2 very aggressive guys. So give me Tyler Reddick, top 3 plus 330.
Yeah, not much of an argument for me. I think you're getting a good line. Again, I don't think we're going to get top 5s. I don't think we're going to get top 10s. So top 3s are what you're going to have to target. Pick a couple you like. It's a good number. We've seen Reddick be strong. We've seen him be strong at the Clash of the Coliseum before. And also, we didn't really talk about it, I guess. What type of comp tracks to this? There's so many different ways you could go. And now with the repave, we really don't know. It's a shorter, flatter track, so you can kind of look at that in general. You could maybe look at Richmond. There's so many kind of different ways you could go with this, Rod. So I don't know as far as like a true comparison, but I do think that Reddick is a guy to watch for sure at this number. And he's had some good runs here lately. Again, the result's not always there, but shorter race, less time to fuck it up, hopefully. So hopefully he doesn't do that. Let's see. Catching up on chat real quick. Slick track. Will the Highline come in for Tyler? That's possible as well. Again, it's going to be interesting to see because we don't really have much as far as what to expect from this track. Night race, correct. It is a night race. I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern time there on the East Coast. So it will be a night race for them. And then also someone had mentioned Penske on short tracks has been terrible. That was Boji Joe as well. I agree with you. That goes to my Joey Logano argument. Also goes against Ryan Blaney. I'm going to take Martin Truex Jr. over Ryan Blaney at -115. Look, Penske's been struggling in general. Yes, Blaney's been the sort of bright spot, but even that's kind of hit and miss. Joey's been terrible. Is Austin Cindric even in the series? Nobody really knows. I've got a milk carton over here with his face on it. And it's not been great for them. They've not been good on short tracks. And Martin Truex Jr., Rod, I don't know if you've noticed short tracks like New Hampshire, places like Richmond, but Martin Truex Jr. on shorter, flatter tracks is really fucking good. I'm going to be talking about Truex again here in a few minutes, but I love him this week. I think he's going to be in contention to win this race. And Ryan Blaney, again, I think he'll be there. He's going to be just another guy, I think, in this race. Top 10, maybe. I'd be surprised if he's even in the top 5. I think Truex is going to have a chance to win this race. So love Martin Truex Jr. over Ryan Blaney, -115 over on Caesars.
Sad because, we saw Ryan Blaney actually do well yesterday or last weekend and didn't have anything to show for it at the end of the race too. So yeah, I have a feeling that's where we're going to be at again. And so Truex, I don't know if Truex doesn't mess it up too. That's another thing. That's kind of what you're holding your breath for as well. So,
sure.
But you know what? Listen, if Truex does well, then falls within the realm of this next bet, which I found. Guess what? I can't get away from my winning car bets because that's exactly where we're at. Winning car number, I'm picking between 10 and 19 over there on Caesars, +155 for this bet. Who do you get within the 10 to 19 range? Well, you get Denny Hamlin. You get Ryan Blaney, just in case he accidentally wins. You get AJ Allmendinger. You get Chris Buescher. You get Martin Truex Jr. That's a pretty stacked pack right there of guys. If he makes it, you get Noah Gragson or Chase Briscoe or Kaz Grala for that matter, if you really want to get crazy with it. But
14 overtimes later, Kaz Grala wins.
Hey, listen, crazier things have happened in this world. So if Kaz Grala ends up winning the All-Star race, then that $1 million will be looking pretty nice for that 15 team. But yeah, so I mean, again, all the heavy hitters that are there, obviously Kyle Larson not in that mix, Brad Keselowski, Ross Chastain not in that mix, Bell, Logano, Byron, McDowell, Reddick, Stenhouse, and Suarez. But I've got to wait for you to cover that if it doesn't happen between 10 and 19. But I feel like that's a pretty heavy hitting swing in there between 10 and 19, especially at +155, because you're getting the Gibbs cars, you're getting Buescher, right? Which is, we saw him kind of dominate last week as well. So I feel like that's a pretty sturdy group for +155.
Yeah, no arguments. I think, for especially getting a guy like Danny, getting Truex in there, along with some of those other guys at +155 is a good number. Boji Joe keeps saying the car lift. I don't know if he's calling for a specific car lift, but you could kind of count this as the next leg of a car lift. Kyle Larson, I'm on him again, Rod. Spoiler alert, not the last time I'm going to give out a bet on him tonight, but +260 for a top 3. I think JDK had mentioned this a while ago in the chat as well. Absolutely. Yes, he did right there. Shout out to you, JDK. I was on that as well. Love this. Again, yeah, he's going to have to start in the back, but they're just disrespecting him way too much for that. He is going to come through the field. It's going to be a story of, and there is a lot of questions coming into this race. It might be really hard to pass here, and I think that that's definitely a possibility. But, Rod, you're going to get pit selection based on qualifying efforts. Maybe Harvick can get a nice pit selection for him. We know he's got one of the better crews, and even when people can't pass, if somebody can pass, it's going to be Kyle Larson. He's going to figure it out. I'm not concerned. You're getting a massive discount because he's going to start at the back. We already know that going into this. I'm fine with it. +260 for Kyle Larson for a top 3. I love it. Again, he obliterated everyone in this race last year. We know he is the most talented driver in the world, the best driver out there right now. I think he's going to be just fine, even coming from the back. Also, I think I'll have to look at what his starting spot was last year. I feel like he started fairly far back in the 2023 event. Okay, exactly. So the worst he can start is 20th, which I would imagine is where he will start because I think he'll go to the back for a driver change. So starts 20th, started 16th last year, still blew everyone away. Why can't he finish in the top 3, Rod? So, and JDK checking in. Larson pretty much started in the back last year as well, had a 13-second gap by the stage break. So, and again, you've got the tire strategy and stuff in here. Cliff Daniels is probably the best, if not one of the best crew chiefs out there. They're going to figure all that stuff out, and they've got all the Hendrick stuff behind him. Love Kyle Larson top 3 again. And I think if you're betting Kyle Larson, you need to do it now, earlier on in the week, because I don't see these numbers on Larson sticking. I think that the books are going to get hit heavy and hard, and his numbers are going to shift a lot. So get these bets in early because nothing's going to change. You're not going to see anything from him practicing in the heat races because he's not going to be in them. And he's starting last already. So just roll with it and get the bets in.
Like I said, this is one that I had circled and you had put it in there already. So especially a plus 260, that almost seems like an absolute no-brainer. So love that one as well. I'm going to take Toyota as the winning manufacturer. I was going to take Chevy. I mean, Chevy is actually, what did I see it at? +1. Chevy's +150. So if you want to do that, you can. I'm going to take Toyota at +160 or +145 rather. I feel like that's a better, never mind. That shifted. Toyota +165 right now on Caesars. So that's even better. That moved up a little bit. So that makes it even better for me. +165 for Toyota to be the winning manufacturer. Again, 2 of the top 3 cars last year were Toyotas. They were the 2311 Toyotas. And look, even still, like Bell, Hamlin, and Truex were all 12th, 13th, and 14th, but they were back to back to back, right? Ty Gibbs ended up finishing 9th. So there's a lot of obviously great Toyotas in the mix. We know Kyle Larson starting in the back. Can he go up and blare through the field and win again? Sure. But again, past that, I don't know that I'm scared of Fords. And I don't know that I'm too scared of the rest of the Hendrick Motorsports guys because let's face it, outside of Larson, it's just sort of been a pick'em as far as Elliott, Byron, and Bowman, which really it's just been a pick'em between Byron and Elliott, honestly. And then it was even just a pick'em between Byron. So it's just been Byron, and I'm not really scared about Byron winning this race. So I think a Toyota could swoop up and end up winning this race. And like I said, at +165 now, you're almost getting 2-1 for any one of those Toyotas to end up winning this race. I like it. So give me Toyota to win this race at +165. I mean, look, we know it's going to be a Gibbs Toyota probably or 2311 Toyota that's going to win this race, and all of them have a solid shot at doing it.
Yeah, no arguments from me there. I've got multiple guys in my outrights coming up next that are from the Toyota camp that I think can win this race. So I like it. Let's see, catching up on the chat as well. Erica checking in, wants to know if there's any Ty love. We did talk about the Open a few minutes ago. I had lots of love for Ty. So go back and check that. And I've got something else on Ty coming up here as well. So, all right, Rod. Should we get to the outrights for the All-Star race winner?
Let's do that, shall we?
Let's do it. All right. So you're getting actually some really good numbers on drivers this week. You don't have I don't remember what. I think Denny is the shortest, and he's pretty light. But past that, you got 525 for Denny, plus 625 for Byron, and then it really opens up after that. And actually, I'm going to change this number because I found a better one. So we're going to start with Christopher Bell plus 800, Rod. I think he could be a sneaky winner of this. Look, it's a shorter, flatter track. We know that he's good at these types of tracks. If this ends up being kind of a slicker race with this new asphalt, we don't exactly know. Dirt track guy, can move around, can find the line. He's good at that. So I love Christopher Bell. I think at plus 800, really good number for him. I think Denny is rightfully the favorite of this. Byron, again, he's the threat any week, but they've been off a little lately. I don't know if they've been testing or what's going on, but they've been off. Christopher Bell, he's been off a lot too, Rod. And it might be checkers or wreckers for him, but shorter race, less time to fuck it up. And if he can come out somewhere and just lay down a race and you're like, holy shit, we haven't heard from Christopher Bell in a while, and yet he came out and blew this race away, it's going to be at a shorter, flatter track because that's where he thrives. So I think I'm going to take the gamble on Bell this week at 8-1. I like the number there. Kyle Larson is 9-1, Rod. Absolute fucking joke. We've been talking about it all day, all show already. Should not be 9-1 ever. I don't care that he's starting last place. This is your opportunity to bet on Kyle Larson. And if he doesn't win this race, Rod, you got him at 9-1. It doesn't matter. You have to have Kyle Larson 9-1. It should not be, especially this isn't some track where this isn't Daytona or Talladega where he sucks. Like, this is a track where he blew everyone away the one time we've been here, won the truck race the one time he's been in it. I just don't understand. Again, he's starting last. Who fucking cares? It's Kyle Larson. 9-1. The number should not be at that. And then Rod, Martin Truex Jr., kind of same argument with Christopher Bell. Talked about him earlier in the head-to-head also. Truex is 11-1. Again, shorter, flatter tracks. This is the type of place where he shows up. Their teammate, Denny Hamlin, is the favorite in this. We know all of these Gibbs cars are good, so like him as well. And then Caesars has a boost as well, Rod, which gives you Ty Gibbs to win the open race, which I already gave out, and like it plus 275, and Martin Truex to win the main race. Well, if I'm already going to bet those separately, let's put them together and toss it in this boosted parlay. Plus 36.45 is the odds you're getting over on Caesars for this. So that's Ty Gibbs to win the open race and Martin Truex Jr. to win the All-Star race. So yeah, Christopher Bell 8-1, Larson 9-1, Truex 11-1, and Gibbs plus Truex plus 36.45.
I love it. I love all of that. Again, that's heavy Toyota in that one. So I definitely like that for my Toyota bet. And of course, Truex falls within that 10-19 range. So love that one as well. Look, for me, I'm just going to go ahead and say Reddick. I'm going to say Reddick. And I'm so pissed. You guys are moving lines. Love you to death. But boy, as we're live, you guys are moving lines. Reddick was 14-1 when I first put together the document for this. I thought that was fantastic, right? I still like 12-1 for Tyler Reddick to win this race, but I would have liked it better at 14-1. So maybe we should stop talking about people so you can get better prices, but still take 12-1 on Tyler Reddick. Like I said, finished third in this race last week. We saw what he did, or last year rather, and we saw what he did last week. So we know he's got speed in that 45. We know that he can tool it around these shorter tracks. We know that he can get through traffic. Just don't mess it up. Just like Cody said, short race, don't mess it up. Be there at the end. If he can do that, I feel like he still has an opportunity to win this race. And at 14-1 would have been better. And I was frantically shopping through all the books just to see and make sure if, that was the same. He's 12-1 everywhere now.
Yep.
12-1 everywhere. So Caesars had him at 14-1. They realized, probably should have him down at 12-1 or else we're going to get slammed. So they did. And now he's at 12-1 everywhere. But Tyler Reddick, not only does that satisfy our winning our winning manufacturer bet, but it also gets you 12-1 on an outright, and it gets you the top three at plus 330 as well. So love Tyler Reddick for all of those reasons as an outright.
Yeah, no arguments from me there. Let's see, back to the chat real quick. Boji Joe wants to know why we have an all-star race. Wish they would just add another real race. And then mentioned, the NFL got rid of theirs, basically, right? It's like two-hand touch. The NBA, the over-under is like 600 in that game. MLB, sleepy. But I heard, I listened to too many podcasts, Rod. I can't remember who says what. Might have been Door Bumper Clear, might have been Corey LaJoy. One of them mentioned today when I was listening, look, our all-star race, I'm pretty sure it was Door Bumper Clear actually, but our all-star race is a real event. Like, it's the best of all of them. The NBA, they come out, they don't play defense, it's shooting the ball, get two-hand touch and throw the ball through a hoop in the NFL, whatever. Nobody cares. But ours is a full-on event. They're going to come out, they're going to race. Only first place matters, and everybody's going for it. They're racing just as hard as they do each and every other week, maybe even harder because, second place doesn't mean anything in this race. So I think it's a great event. You always would maybe want another points race, but I don't know if they're going to add another points race. This gives the teams kind of a little bit of a break, right? You're still working everything, but you get the kind of 1 week off from points racing and stuff. So I think that our all-star race is fine because I think that you are getting the full effort. It's going to be a full race, just like any other time, as far as not distance-wise, but as far as the effort from all the drivers, it's going to be full on. They're racing for $1 million. And again, outside Eric Almirola, all of these drivers could use an extra $1 million, Rob.
I could use an extra.
Maybe he would care for $1 million. It was 100,000. He's like, yeah, whatever.
I could use $1 million, not even an extra. I could just use $1 million.
Well, yeah.
Let's go with that.
They'd be my first, but
yeah, it kind of would be mine too. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over the bets for today. I apologize, no graphic today. Literally just came straight from work into here, so I didn't have a chance to put it together. So Cody started you out with Ty Gibbs at plus 275 as the open winner. Bubba as the open winner at 7-1. I said that Josh Berry would be the open winner at plus 750. Cody turned his attention to the All-Star race proper to give you Kyle Larson over Chase Elliott at plus 110. Over on Superbook, I said Ross Chastain would finish better than Kyle Busch at minus 110 on Superbook. Cody gave you Brad Keselowski over Joey Logano at plus 100. I gave you Tyler Reddick as a top 3 car at plus 330. Cody gave you Truex over Blaney at minus 115. I said the winning car number would be between 10 and 19 at plus 155. Cody said Larson would be a top 3 car at plus 260. I said Toyota would be the winning manufacturer at plus 165. Cody said that Bell at 8-1, Larson at 9-1, Truex at 11-1, and then Gibbs and Truex. So Gibbs to win the Open, Truex to win the All-Star race proper at plus 36.45 over on Caesars with that boost to win this All-Star race. And I said Tyler Reddick at 12-1 now to win the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro in North Carolina. Love, love, love this racetrack.
My guy James checking in. Burn Rubba, praise Bubba, win the Open. Yes, go back and listen to the beginning. Well, I guess you just recapped it too, but I did give out Bubba to win the Open. I think he can get it done. So love it. Yeah, this is going to be, again, just kind of, go in. We can still have some fun, but not going to be as serious as a normal week as far as betting on this. Treat it a little lighter, have some fun, but still plenty of stuff. And then the Truck Series is a full-on regular race. We'll get fully invested in that tomorrow. Of course, when we come back, Rod, we'll have some DFS stuff later in the week as well, which you're going to want to pay attention to because DFS works a little bit different this week. So we'll go over all of that on the DFS show as well.
Yes, sir. Still a full plate, regardless of the fact that they're on a sort of a break. We are not. We are going to be full, heavy. We're going to continue to try to win you money all throughout the week, as we always do. No break for us as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll turn you loose to go fill out those cards before lines keep moving on you. Doggone, man. Love that. So,
yes, all over the place. Jessica saying, yes, trucks. No Xfinity this week, unfortunately, but we will have trucks. Phil, Full Tank with Phil checking in.
Hey, Phil.
Great work, guys. A lot of great info for this race. Appreciate it, Phil. Glad to see you survived Disney last week.
Mm-hmm.
And Boji Joe, hope you're a little right about F1, Cody. I hope I'm a lot right about F1, but okay, a little right. We'll take it. Great show. Watch this morning. That's a good reminder for you. Go check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. Of course, if you don't know anything about it or F1 in general, it's just Rod and I doing this exact same show, but we talk about F1. No British accents, nothing crazy. It's just us being us and cashing bets over there. So check it out. And then, Rod, you can find all the rest of my work over at Twitter, the X, as they're calling it these days, at Husker_Zeeb. Going to have a week 1L betting thing out Thursday after we get the week 1 schedule. They're going to have all the lines up. So bets to get in early and get on. So check that out. Also going to have an Underdog article coming out for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Check that out. And back tomorrow with Truck Series picks. And hopefully we can take down Phil and Derek over there on the betting. I got to look. I haven't even looked to see if we beat them this past week, Rod. I was just assuming. Actually, I think our picks did really bad, but that's okay. We'll get to that.
Hopefully they pick Kyle Busch as well, because that would be the only place where we would be able to make up ground. But yeah. All right. Yeah, I would try a British accent for the F1 Gambling Podcast, but I don't want to get canceled. So I think we're all good there. But follow us there. Yes. But follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, whether it's in between media, all that fun stuff going on. We'll be back tomorrow to break down the trucks. And until then, everyone, let's go racing and let it ride.